simply took the funds to cover the expenses in Healburn. Clearly, this scenario was not contemplated by the county when they sold the tax lot to Hogar for affordable housing for only $4,215.43. Further, the county waived the penalty and interest due on the parcel since it was going to be for affordable housing. Ultimately, the lot in the new house sold without a restrictive covenant to a prospective buyer for $650,000. In correspondence, Hogar's attorney is challenging the attorney for Western LLC to explain how Hogar was not notified for over 1 year of the sale, nor did it receive an additional contracted 13% of the increased price over $550,000 to it, an additional $13,000 more or less. The last comment concerning additional funds owed Hogar is in making reference to a provision in the contract with the builder that if the house were ultimately to sell for more than $550,000, that the builder would pay 13% increase to Hogar. In essence, they bought a tax delinquent parcel from the county of Rockland for $4,200, flipped it for $210,000, represented to the county of Rockland the property was sold to Hogar to be used for affordable housing, and then they flipped it and it was not used for affordable housing. They never came back to this legislature or to the county of Rockland to disclose this to us. They never came back and told us we can't use affordable housing, we have a problem using with affordable housing, it can't be done, and asked us for permission to use it in some other way. They just flipped it. We could have sold that property at public auction to the developer. We could have sold it for the same $210,000 and used that money for the county's general fund to meet our expenses, to keep nurses working at the hospital, to keep the health department staff or the mental health department. These are serious issues that were raised to the Budget and Finance Committee. At Legislator Hood's request, the committee agreed to provide Hogar not with the $113,000 that was allocated for them for calendar year 2009, but only $50,000. And that money to be used only for their first-time home buyers program and for the financial assistance and counseling program to home buyers. Over the course of 2010, we will be looking at Hogar's activities. The 2010 budget would have provided Hogar for something in the range of $96,700, $96,800. But the budget submitted, that was in the budget submitted by the county executive, but that's been modified to provide it with the same $50,000, and the balance of $46,000 and change has been put into escrow. If satisfactory answers are obtained by this legislature, then we will consider releasing the balance of the money. But these are serious issues, and I've only given you two of what are several. These are serious issues that have to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Day.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. First of all, I want to acknowledge Legislator Schoenberger and a very comprehensive rendering of his findings over a period of time looking at this issue. 2 points that I would like to bring up through the chair, one through the chair and one just an observation. There was mention made of the potential of federal and state governments looking for recovery of dollars from Hogar and possibly others. Question I would have is there, in Chairman Schoenberger's view, from what he's been looking at, a potential of a liability exposure for our county taxpayers in all this? The second comment was just as an observation, just to opine on something that the rendering of what I've heard tonight, I think, demands that county government look hard at the agencies that we convey money to. I think there's a need for additional oversight. I think that should be happening across the board. I would ask, and I will prepare a letter personally and request that be done and be looked at through the executive branch for consideration, hopefully by in tandem with the legislature. But there's serious issues raised, and I think it just speaks to an issue that if this could happen once, my concern is this could happen again. I think we should take the proper control over these issues to ensure that there's a minimal exposure for any potential misuse of county taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with what you said, Legislator Day. Unfortunately, years ago, when the county executive cut the size of the audit department, you know, we have very little auditing opportunities because I think that that's really what auditors ought to be doing, is looking at agencies in that way. But we can take that up, as you said. Pardon me? On the liability, I'll address the council on that. Would you like to respond to that?
Yes, I'll answer you as best I
wait,
can at
you're
this
the
point.
counsel?
I'm sorry.
All right.
Let me answer it for you, okay? The answer to your question is maybe. If the money came directly from the state or the federal government to Hogar, then it's an obligation that goes back to the state and federal government if they didn't comply with the terms of the money. If they entered into an agreement to provide affordable housing and a 20-year covenant, and they violated the covenant, and as I understand it, they have, and as I understand it, the money that was advanced by the state to help purchase the property, then the state, I believe, could not only recoup the money they advanced, but possibly disgorge any profit. Whether that would be the Donato's obligation or Hogar's obligation, because Hogar was the one who was responsible for, under law for enforcing the covenant, remains to be seen. As to the County of Rockland's responsibility, if the money that was used for the loan program came into the county, say to community development, and came out of community development, then the county may have some responsibility.
You did that, it's not okay, or would there be any written criteria now, new criteria they would have to follow before the rest of the money can be released to them? That's my question.
All right. I can address that to the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee.
In the resolve clause in the resolution, it sets forth specific terms and conditions which Hogar must comply with in order to receive the funds. And it has three different specific areas. The first area is they have to provide a schedule of specific services they're going to perform with the county money, and specifically identify and describe each service and the dollar amount thereof. The second is that Hogar shall be required to have its executive director file an annual financial disclosure statement, the same one that we file with our county board of ethics. They've got to file with the board of ethics, or she has to file with the board of ethics. That will disclose her transactions. And the first disclosure statement has to be filed, and we agreed upon doing it by January 31st, 2010 to cover the calendar year for 2008. The one for 2009 will have to be filed by May, just like we all filed it in May of 2010 for 2009. And the third is that the board of directors of Hogar must agree in the contract that they will monitor the activities of the executive director and all of the Hogar employees to make sure there are no conflicts of interest and/or self-dealings or violation of the agreement of services Hogar Inc. is to provide or has provided under the contract for this appropriation. So we can't tell Hogar as a nonprofit who their executive director will be or who their board members will be or really in instance how they're going to operate. But what we can do is say, we're going to give you a list of requirements that if you don't follow, you're not going to get our money. And that's what we try to set up. 2009 is almost over. And I think the concentration is going to have to be on 2010. We haven't agreed to give them the money for 2010 yet. It's in the budget, but we haven't agreed to it. And more than that, there's a balance that they want over and above that they're going to have to come to us for. And they're going to have to comply.
Okay. Legislator Maroney is next. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, we sit here all the time and we vote on contract agencies, and I certainly don't want to be the one to hold back any monies from contract agencies, anyone. But certainly Mr. Schoenberger tonight has